the BMS has always been a supporter of local charities. Through the Speedway Children's Charities, like you mentioned earlier, the track's donated millions of dollars. What was the start of this program, and why did BMS decide to participate?
It goes back to Mr. Smith. He created Speedway Children's Charities several years ago, and he requires each of his tracks to have a chapter. When Speedway Motorsports bought Bristol Motor Speedway in 1996, one of the first things he did was tell the new president and general manager, Jeff Bird, one of the things you have to do is establish a Speedway Children's Charities chapter. Claudia Bird, the wife of our boss Jeff Bird, is the director of that chapter and does a wonderful job in doing that. Our location is different. One of the greatest aspects we have with our facility is our market. One of the greatest challenges we have is our market. And our track in Fort Worth or our track in Las Vegas can host one black tie dinner a year and raise enough money to fund their charities. We can't do that, so we have to get creative with things like Speedway and Lights and get sponsors like Auto Trader and Bristol, Tennessee Essential Services and create an ice rink. I mean, we have hospitality tents throughout our events where companies entertain their clients that are not being used other times. So we take our largest hospitality tent and we turn it into the Johnson Controls ice rink. And once we pay the light bill and do things, all the money goes to charity. And just recently we gave, as I said, $650,000 away to 84 charities. You look around the room at the night we do that, and you wish that those charities didn't exist or didn't have to exist. But you know they do, and you know that if you have the opportunity to help them, it gives you a warm feeling. Claudia actually says it's her favorite night of the year when she can give back to these charities. And in a time of an economic downturn when virtually every charity was told, we're either not going to contribute this year or your contribution is going to be less, we actually made the decision, if we were able to, and fortunately we were, was to give every charity more this year than we gave last year. So Mr. Smith laid that out there in '96. The idea of the lights came about through Claudia and others, through an event they saw in North Carolina, and it's been very successful, and it's become a tradition for a lot of people to take their family through the lights, a 4-mile trek with 2 million lights, and you can stop in the infield and roast marshmallows, and the money goes to charity.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, impressive thing that you guys do over there every holiday season.
Well, it keeps all of us busy, you know, and in the downtime you can't really race in the snow, so what can you do? You can try to use your facility to the best of our ability to raise money to give to others, and it's fortunate we're in that position, and we try to give back.
Oh. Well, Bristol Motor Speedway, as we mentioned earlier, also has a reputation as the fastest half-mile track in the world. How does your organization value that reputation and intend to maintain it?
It is a value to us. It's obviously a slogan by which we're known, but the thing that is even more important to us is our mission statement to our guests. And our mission statement is very simple. It's 3 words: to exceed expectations. And when we entertain the million-plus people throughout the year who come onto our property, we want them to have the Bristol experience and to leave wanting to come back. And the way we do that is, in every way, is to try to exceed their expectations. Being the world's fastest half mile and a high-banked half mile and higher speeds than tracks larger than ours are really neat aspects of our facility. But that's something, if someone wanted to come and build another Bristol, as we mentioned earlier, that might be achievable. What we work on is what can't be achievable, and that's the way we treat our guests and wanting them to come back. So the world's fastest half mile we take a lot of pride in that. We try to work on ways to maintain that and to keep that. But exceeding the expectations of the people who come to Bristol is even more important to us.
Oh, okay. Well, are there any particular specific plans to expanding that brand and further taking that mission statement, that motto, and really running with it?
Well, we try in each and every event we do. I think there's a perception that a racetrack is only open about 10 days a year. We actually have 271 event days on the average throughout the year, 51 days being Speedway and Lights. Many others where there's actually something going on our property, Bristol Dragway, Thunder Valley as we like to call it. We have one national event next year in 2010. It'll be in June, but we run events there almost every weekend from early April to early October. And So we're working all the time to try to meet those needs, and when we're examining events that we have, that's one of the templates we try to apply to it is, does this event exceed expectations of what people may have? And so it's an everyday process for us. It's what we try to do in everything we do, and if people let us know we haven't done that, we try to respond to that as well, because as much as you would like to have 100% satisfaction, we know that we haven't had that, and we try to respond. And we've tried to do things. Last year, I said this year, in 2009, we added what will be called the Scott's Easy Seed Showdown. And for a 35-lap event for charity, we brought back some of the biggest names in racing, and Cale Yarborough and Harry Gann and Junior Johnson, some of whom haven't been in a car in 30 years. And they raced each other 35 laps for charity in front of about 70,000 people. And it was one of the biggest hits. And we put it on a day for an event. We'd already sold the tickets, and we'd already set the price. So we didn't add to the pricing. It was just an added value for our fans to come and see some of their heroes do this. And in the event, to the side, charities benefited from it. So it was a wonderful event. We're going to do it again in 2010. Just things like that to try to continue to add value to what is already, we believe, the best experience in racing.
What about the purely athletic sporting aspect of NASCAR? It's been a rapidly growing fan-based sport over the past several decades. What would you see as being the future of NASCAR in a national medium?
It's hard to say. I mean, the sport has grown and changed so much over the years. It would be, I certainly don't know that I'm visionary enough to predict where it will be in the next 5 to 10 years. I know it is a demanding sport. One of the challenges that we used to have many years ago was convincing some people who weren't very familiar with the sport that these guys were athletes, that they actually, it was a difficult athletic proposition to go this fast, this close to another car for 3.5 hours in a very dangerous situation. NASCAR's worked very hard over the years to make the sport safer and safer, but anytime you mix man and machine and high speeds in a 3,400-pound car, you have a dangerous situation. And so to do that, and to do it for as long as they do, at the speeds they do, as close as they do it to each other, they are athletes. And it's become more and more for these guys with their regimen of their food and their training to work on that and to sustain their stamina throughout those 3.5 hours. And that has changed. ESPN, the magazine, recently did 6 different covers with athletes and how they train their bodies. And Serena Williams was one, and they had different athletes. And one of the athletes they chose was Carl Edwards, a race car driver. And I don't know that a decade ago that a driver would have been considered.